Just a little insight of my new birds. You all know Splash is original. Everybody's going crazy. They're all new. That one right there, the blue bar. The two white grizzles right there in the middle of that, the other side of that 2x4 right there in front of you. The grizzle up there. Another blue bar up in the corner. And I've got 3, 4, 5, I believe, on the other side. These were actually banded 2018s. So I'm going to turn them into old bird breeder or old bird flyers. They haven't never flown before. So I'm going to train them here with my whites. As you can see, Splash's little kid is learning how to get in there and eat. The one that looks like Splash, there you go, look. The one that looks like Splash was just over here too. Actually running around on the floor now. I just banded these two. I just banded these two. And I believe I just banded those two. There's 6. And I still got those 2 over here. They're doing real well. Excuse the log. I will definitely clean it this week. These are all wood, those wood pellets. They're on the floor. So, I mean, this kept all the wetness and the moistness down, but now it's getting to the point where with all the feathers from them molting and all the dust, it's really gotten kind of bad in here, and I'm getting ready to clean it up. But since they got babies in here, I want to next step into my next loft, show you a couple things in there, and just a couple things I want to talk about today. So if you give me a second, we'll get right to it. As everybody knows, these are my white Janssens. None of these birds, as far as I know, have never been flown before. All the whites, that is. And I wanted to breed some before I started flying any of them, but I am going to fly them as part of my team over here on the right. The one the loft I just came out of. Now this is an old pair right here. I believe she's a 2013, he's a 2012. That's a pair, like that silver grizzle bar, I guess silver bar grizzle. The hen right there on the left, and the cockbird right there, the Splash cock. Then there's that one right there, a blue bar, and there's those 2 blue bars, and there's a grizzle behind them. I don't know how well we can see that one, but she's right there. Yeah, that's. And then I got my 2 babies, 2 Janssen babies. I came in here the other day, and the smallest one was on the floor, and apparently somebody had beaten on her head, and her head was bloody. So I put her back in here the other day, and she's healed up real fine, and she's doing just fine right now. But anyway, anything that's got color in here is new birds. Like I said, there's 10 Janssens in here. They're skittish, and there's a couple blue Del bars in here as well. Came from a buddy of mine, Matthew Richards. He's out of Virginia. Something I wanted to talk to you about today. A buddy of mine, one of the lofts that I like to talk about all the time, Popel's Pigeons. He recently changed his loft name back to what it was originally before somebody told him that because of the name, he was not going to get much attention because people don't like religious affiliations. It's a bunch of crap if you ask me. His original loft name was Racing for Christ Lofts, and I like that. And I'll tell you, that's probably the whole reason that attracted me to his loft. And we became good friends since then. The boy's he's got a big heart, and he really cares about his animals, and you can tell. I mean, he's started the videos, and you know, most kids are out here running around with their phones up there, you know, and they're not paying attention to nothing. They're out here doing wrong. They're just a lot of unparental guidance out here for kids. And this is one boy that spends, I'd say, most of his time away from school and anything else he does that's constructive in his loft with his birds. Apparently he had gotten a letter from his county telling him that, and a picture that came along with it from a neighbor, telling him there was a complaint against his birds, and he had to get rid of all his pigeons and his loft. Now I will say he lives in a residential neighborhood, but from what he says, he's lived in this house for like 15 years. He grew up with his dad, you know, racing these birds, playing with these birds, raising these birds. I know this boy's hand-raised birds, and he spends, it's his life. It's what he does. And now he's got, you know, between a neighbor complaining after all this time and the county stepping in, it said he had 2 weeks to get rid of everything he has. I think it's terrible. I think it's a lot of crap. It reminds me of something that I'm going through right now. I told you a while back I had a neighbor that killed one of my turkeys because it went in his yard. Okay, well, that was fine, whatever. You know, I let it go, let it slide. I figured we'd just leave it alone. We wouldn't have any more problems. Then a little while after that, you know, because he came to my house and he was cussing and raising up a storm, complaining about my goats, complaining about my cow. He went way beyond the issue of my turkey in his yard to pretty much tell me, how dare I have pets in my yard? Well, we looked around for a house with no restrictions, a place where there was no HOA, and we could do what we wanted. Have a garden, have some animals. You know, I wanted to have pigeons again, and I wanted to have game roosters again. And as you see, my game roosters are out there. I'm right here. Here's my pigeons. You see what I've got going on. But recently I had another pair of my turkeys that were uncontainable. I didn't want to lock them down in a dog kennel, you know, I had to put a roof on everything, but they were getting to where they weren't staying in the yard anymore. And so the other day, as I was getting ready to go to the ER to get a CAT scan on my leg because I've been having some serious problems, you know, when you get my age, you start having issues, and I'm starting to have issues. So I was getting ready to get in the truck with the wife, and we were going to go to Jefferson County Memorial. And the man's wife came outside and she was like yelling at me, you better get this turkey out of my yard before my husband finds out, and all this other stuff. And I said, I didn't know my turkey was in your yard, but I'll get it out right now. You know, and I knew, here we go again. So I went across through the woods, which is just a small patch of woods. And my turkey was like on the edge. He was like walking the borderline. And I believe, you know, that might even be my property. I don't know how far mine goes into where it stops. You know what I mean? There's a strip of woods about maybe 15 foot wide, and somewhere in the middle of that is my property and his property, I believe. But so I got the turkey out of his yard, and I was coming up here, and I was getting ready to leave, and he come outside screaming and yelling and threatening. He started running. He was running his mouth. He was cussing at me. He was getting ready to cross the borderline and coming into my yard, and he was real aggressive. And this boy, he's a good sized guy, you know, and he was very mad. And I'm not in the shape like I used to be, because I would, 10 years ago, or maybe even less than that, we would have had a really good time out here in the yard, you know what I mean? But he was coming, and I wound up telling him, I said, do not come in my yard. Because of his attitude, I knew it was not going to be good. And he's like, what are you going to do? And so I reached in the truck for my 9. I was going to show him what I was going to do. Well, he stopped. But he proceeded to tell me that I'm lucky he didn't kill my turkey. Like he killed my chicken the other day. And I'm like, well, I didn't know my chicken was missing. He said, yeah, I killed it. I threw it in the middle. I threw it over here in the woods. Hoping you'd find it so you'd know. And I said, I never found it. I never knew. I just figured a fox got it like he got a lot of other chickens. And that was about it. Well, he seemed kind of upset that I didn't find it and that I knew he killed it. Then he proceeded to admit how he killed my last turkey, and he was threatening to kill this one, and basically how he's been here longer than me, like that was supposed to mean something. You can't have animals because I've been here longer than you and I say so and all this other crap. Well, I knew that was a boatload. I do whatever I want to do out here. He has no rights any more than I do. So he proceeded to cuss, threaten, even called my wife the B word, which I quickly stopped him from that. I mean, this guy was irate. It was terrible. This is the kind of neighbor you dream you don't have, ever. I've never had problems with neighbors like this since North Carolina, when I had a bunch of crackheads living next door, and they were up all night, all hours of the night, in and out, raising cane, stereos, and I had to walk out there a couple times with 9mm and straighten them out. You know what I mean? So we had words, and he actually got me mad. So we were having words back and forth and everything, and he starts the name calling, you know. He decided he was going to call me white trash, you know, and I'm like, white trash? I'm not white trash. He's like, yes, you are. You're nothing but white trash. I said, what does that make you then? Well, apparently it made him a white American citizen. That's what he told me. And I told him, well, hey, bud, I'm the same thing. He says, no, you're not. You're white trash. So what did I do? I let him go in the house. I went down, I caught my turkeys up, the boy and the girl, and I caught them up in a cage that they couldn't get out. And I went on to the hospital, and I decided right there, I called my buddy Dave, lives down the road from me. I got my gobbler from in the first place. That's all, look, bud. I'm going to send this gobbler and this hen over to you because I just can't have them getting out anymore. I just wanted to stop the problem. It's no big deal to me. It's just damn turkeys. So yesterday, that's where I took them. Well, when I was thinking about this white American citizen thing, I was thinking, you know, I'm a white American citizen. And if you are a white American citizen, don't you believe in freedom? Don't you believe in having rights? I do. So my biggest thing was, if you're such a white American citizen, as he put it, how do you feel that you can take my rights to have what I want on my property, my freedoms to do as I please on my property away, just because you don't agree with it? Man, I thought I was living next door to a liberal. He probably voted for Hillary Clinton, you know? Who knows? But that's what I'm getting to. You know, the government has overreached into our lives so bad nowadays. That's like, they're sitting up in their big towers and their big houses. They don't have a clue what's going on down here. But anything that they feel like they can regulate and get away with to take away our amendments and our rights every day, it seems like it's happening. I mean, aren't you really happy that they found no collusion with Trump? But it's funny how this whole time that they've been doing this, that all the collusion between the Democrats and Hillary Clinton and Russia and the FBI and the CIA is all out there, but nobody's doing a thing about it. Yeah, it's because they're all corrupt as far as I'm concerned. I've always been independent. I'll always vote independent. You never know who I'm going to vote for next. I know who I'm not voting for. The Democratic Party is all about taking away your rights and giving them to somebody else that has no rights. Yeah, that kind of bothers me. But anyway, I guess that's what I wanted to say today. I don't really like the idea that somebody can come, that can actually send a letter to you or, you know, sit up in an office somewhere and make a law that comes down and changes your life forever. It's like if they were to come here one day and say, you can't have your pigeons, you can't have your chickens, and you can't grow a garden, and we're going to tax your rainwater. Dude, what a blow to your ego would that be? And you know, it's coming. It's coming one day, and I pray to the Lord that I won't be here when it happens. But it's one of the things, if we don't stand up for our rights here soon, our kids and our grandkids are going to suffer. They're going to suffer at the hands of some people that are going to come in here and take complete control. And if they don't believe what they believe, they're going to kill them. You know, you call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I have a lot of reasons to believe what I believe. And I see a lot of things. At my age, I've seen a lot. I might know everything about chickens and pigeons and all these other things, but I've seen a lot of things in my day. A lot of things that are right, and a whole lot of things that are wrong. And this just seems to be getting worse every day. Anyway, Racist for Christ. Y'all can look them up. It's terrible because not only does he have the birds, but he has a really good YouTube channel. And I mean, you're going to take away something from a kid that has been doing it his whole life. What's he going to do then? You know, what then? If you take away everything from kids nowadays and put a phone in their hand, you're ruining a bunch of kids. Case in fact, me and a wife went to McDonald's the other night. We don't like McDonald's. I don't like their burgers, so I don't trust what they put in it. So I got a fillet of fish. But while we were looking at these kiosks that they put up, the lady's like, can I help you? And we were like, yes, please, because we didn't want to mess with this thing. I don't. I'm not that guy. Well, while we were sitting there ordering our food, there was 3 young boys came in here, and 2 of them were walking while looking on their phones and everything. They walk up to the kiosks, push some buttons, sit back. A few minutes later, they walked up to the counter, picked up their food, and walked off. They didn't talk to nobody behind the counter. It's almost like back in the day when you seen the George Jetson cartoons, where the wife would just go up, push some buttons, and the food would appear, and they had dinner. The kids nowadays are learning how not to even communicate with people. They didn't even talk to anybody in the restaurant, except amongst themselves a little bit before they left. I was thinking that's what the world's coming to. There's no more personal interaction. Sooner or later, everything's going to be illegal. You're going to get taxed for everything. And everyone that doesn't do anything for themselves is going to get rewarded. Because they expect them to vote the Democratic way. I can't stand it. I think it's wrong. And I feel for my kids and my grandkids. I don't know how many of y'all feel that way. But anyway, these birds I got was from a buddy of mine. I just really recently met him basically today. I met him at the pigeon meeting where I actually joined a race club 2 or 3 weeks back. And, you know, they like to help new guys out with birds to get them started, some young birds and such. Well, this guy only likes to fly the older birds. And some of these birds he had weren't banded, even though he told me that these are all, you know, unless they're banded different, they're all 2018 birds. Where I think there was 3 that didn't have bands. And I put on some green snap bands, like that right there. Like, well, yeah, that one right there. And this one right here. Oh, just a case in point. Those 2 are a pair. That Splash, White Flight, and that silver bar grizzle, I call it. I'm learning these colors. That's a pair. This one right here, this is a 2012 bird. And let me tell you about this bird. He had told me he's been racing since 2000, I think with this club since 2007. But this bird right here flew in a 1,000-mile race. He said it took it 4 days to get back home, and it didn't win, but it came home. I believe it's a hen. But anyway, since I'm not flying my Jansens, I'm trying to get some babies right now. I'm going to set them in here if they want to crossbreed with the Janssens or whatever else, because they're not banded to race. And those 2 and that one have flown before. When I got these white grizzles next door, apparently he said that he had bought a white cockbird at one of their club auctions that nobody else wanted. He paid $10 for it. He said he bred it, and that's where those white grizzles came from. And some of these, I think they've all got some in them. At least the white grizzles in there do. And he said he won like 6 out of 11 of the club races with bloodlines off of the white one. And you know I like whites, obviously. So I'm going to breed them right in. Anything that's white will get flown with my release business, and anything with color is going to get raced. All the babies. So all these right here, I'm not flying. None of these guys in here are going to fly. I think that I will fly the 3 that are in here that have never flown before, but I'm going to leave that pair alone right there, and I'm going to leave her alone to breed. Make sure she's a hen, but I really believe she is. Leave her to breed over a really good cock. I just haven't picked out who it's going to be yet. And I'm going to make probably individual cages up here. I've got a big box, and I think I'm going to separate these birds out. So other than later on when I fly these Janssens, a few of these blue bars, and everything else is going to be breeders. On my other loft over there, there's one that I've gotten a few weeks ago that showed up on Facebook. On Lost and Found Animals in Jefferson, Berkeley County, West Virginia. And somebody tagged me in it, and it happened to be a blue bar that had a CVR band on it, which was Cumberland Valley Racing, which is out of Hagerstown, Maryland. And I was like, whoa, so that's the club I joined earlier that week. The same club my brother Larry and my brother Danny had raced in. So I contacted the people, and they said, yeah, it showed up here last night, and we didn't know what to do with it. So I went and got it. Told him I'm in this club, and I went and got it. Come back, and the guy had, Mike Pipel, I think it is, said that he didn't even know the bird got out. And here it is 2 days later, he was training his birds, and it was like 2 days before that, this bird has showed up at somebody's house. And he said, I didn't even know the bird had gotten out. I had never flown that bird before, and here it is 25, 26 miles away from home. So he said, you know, you can either let it out and see if it'll make it home. He said, or you can bring it to the next club meeting, or if you want, you can even have the bird. Well, hey, I'm trying to get color, and I'm trying to get breeders because I want to use my whites for my release business, and I want to use cross colors for my racing. You know what I mean? So I was really happy to accept that bird from him. He gave it to me, and like I said, I'm going to have to catch that bird and bring it over in this side and breed it, because this will probably be my breeder loft and I'll fly everything else out of my front loft. They need to come in here. I got all these breeding boxes and hardly even use them. Like in there, every time I turn it, I got another nest on the floor over there. And you see I've already got 6 babies on the floor in there as it is. And now I got another nest. And I got like 6 boxes, ain't got nothing in it. Maybe even more, out of 8. Anyway, that's what's going on here at Hidden Hollow today. Found out I have my lumbar of my back is swelling up and it's pushing into my spinal cavity and it's pinching a nerve in my leg, which is making it really hard to walk and really hard to do things. But I'm trying, and I've got an appointment with a neurosurgeon. I think it's like 2 weeks from now, on the 12th of next month. And I'm going to start getting done whatever I need to get done, because I'm getting old, but I still need to do things. What do you say? On the go, Loft, man. Good luck with your racing. Ham's Flight Kit Box. Flying Dutchman Lofts. Don Pigeons. Peter Ramen. Danny. There's so many to mention, I can't really think about them all. Shout out to Country Boy. Check him out. He's a young boy. He needs some subscribers. He needs some advice. Not saying he doesn't know anything, but I'm sure that some of you older guys could, you know, get on there and give him some advice and help him out. Just like I'm going to need some. You see what I got going on. If there's anything you want to tell me, hey, feel free. Subscribe, ring the bell, and it'll let you know whenever I make my next video. Just wanted to say a shout out to my buddy. Oh God, I'm trying to remember the name right now. Heaven's Call. Heaven's Call was the winner of my subscription giveaway, and he had gotten mad at me because he said it was taking me too long to send his shirt, and I was ignoring him. Well, I wasn't really ignoring him. I'd gotten his emails, and when we order shirts, we like to order them in bulk. You know, because the shipping is so expensive nowadays. I can get 10 shirts for about the same price as I can get 1 shirt when it comes to the shipping. So I had to let him know, bud. It wasn't that I forgot or nothing. But hey, no hard feelings, man. I know you got your shirt and you said you really liked it. I'm really happy. It just sometimes it takes a little bit of time because we do a lot of shirts. We print a lot of shirts and such, and we do a lot of vinyl work. But when it comes to the shirts, we know we'd like to get a few orders up before we order the shirts. You know what I'm saying? We don't go out and buy them at the stores because it's too expensive. Nobody can afford to do that. And if you're trying to run a business, you're going to buy stuff wholesale and you're going to get the best deals you can get. So I hope you understand. Maybe here soon I'll have a 2,000 subscriber giveaway. You never know if I ever get to there. But God is good. And I want to tell you guys to have a great day. Y'all have a great day.